to go to round off. So please tell me, what is that thing you would like to do better? And I feel like your new year resolution should start by now. It shouldn't start from November or December. You should start now. What are your plans for the coming year? What have you tried? What have you been trying to do better? I'd like to hear from you. If you know someone that needs to be here, that needs to join us, please feel free to send the link to them. They really need to be here. We're talking about making money. I don't know why this place is not filled up. It's about making money, and if you really want to make money, these are the kind of webinars you should be present in. But sadly, we don't really have much people here. So I think we're just going to proceed, and hopefully people will get to join us in the meantime. So tonight or this evening, we'll be having Mr. Olatunde Aminu as one of our guests, and also Mr. Benga. We're supposed to have Miss Dr. Laide. I don't know if he's on this call, but as the time goes on, he's going to join us. So hi, Paula, good evening. Olatunde, good evening. Please, can you say something? Let me be sure I'm not just talking. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Paula, good evening. Hi, Olatunde. React, I need you to just say something.
Hi, Eniola, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Mr. Benga, are you here? Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so I think we just need to...
Mr. Benga is here yet.
You said what?
I don't think Mr. Benga is here yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Very well then. We can just kickstart. Hi, Rose. Good evening, Rose. Rose Atekbala. Just
Hi, good
say something.
evening.
Good evening. Where are you listening from or watching from?
I'm listening from Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay, so from where?
Oh, Lekki, Lagos.
All right, thanks for joining.
All right.
Should you know anyone that needs to be here that wants to make more money, please send this link to them. Let them take or, make use of this opportunity. Okay, so quick one. I think we're going to be starting with Olatunde Aminu, one of Vesti's legal officers. So, Mr. Tunde, are you ready?
Oh, yes, I'm very ready.
All right, so give me a few, okay. Few minutes. So tell me, Mr. Tunde, how's been your day?
My day's been very good, regular work and, trying to plan it properly ahead of the weekend. So it's been a good day. So far, so good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm going to be starting with you, right? And from what I have here, today we'll be talking about money tips and investment opportunities for immigrants. But I know we literally, our main focus is about global opportunities, right? And I wouldn't want some of the audiences feel, oh, so if I don't want to migrate, if I don't have plans for doing this, so I don't have to be here or something. So the money tips and investment opportunities is basically not for immigrants. I mean, if you're based in Nigeria as well, this is an opportunity for you to be here tonight. So I'm going to be starting with Mr. Olatunde. Mr. Benga is here, but I think he would be joining back soon. So, Mr. Olatunde Aminu, as a legal officer, or say, yeah, legal officer, what are the tax implications that immigrants should be aware of when investing?
All right, thank you very much for that question. So basically, tax implications for immigrants around the world is usually based on different factors, that determine the nature of, investments they can hold and the level of funds or equity they can put into certain investments in their host countries, basically. So one of the things that determines the nature of investment you can carry out as an immigrant in any country whatsoever is your residency status, right? For instance, your tax obligations may vary, whether or not you are classified as a resident or a non-resident, for tax purposes, right? So, your tax obligations might vary in that instance. So, that's one of the implications or tax implications, every immigrant has to, look at. If you're a resident for the purpose of tax, you might need to, be aware that your worldwide income will be taxed in that host country if you're a resident. I mean, depending on the country, like I said. And I must also point out at this point that this is not legal advice and this is not tax or investment advice. So in any case, and at every point in time, you might have to actually speak with actual professionals in your host country, to advise you better on the nitty-gritty and the nuances, relating to your situation at the time. So like I mentioned earlier, your residency status is one thing that will determine, your tax obligations and as an immigrant. Another implication or another thing you have to look out for, as an immigrant when it comes to taxes is double taxation. So there are certain countries that enjoy, double taxation, benefits with Nigeria. For instance, if you're in Nigeria and you're traveling, to other countries, you are immigrating to other countries, you have to check out whether, there are double taxation treaties that, allow you to, avoid double taxation, that is paying taxes in your home country, which is Nigeria, and then paying the same kind of taxes in your host country. So you have to look out for those. A number of countries that hold such double taxation treaties with Nigeria include UK and Italy. So you have to look out for those double taxation treaties, as they might help you, avoid double taxation. And also, another tax implications that immigrants have to look out for is, their reporting obligations. For instance, in the United States, there's what is called the foreign bank account, report that you have to make if you hold significant, foreign assets outside the United States as a resident, right? So you have to report those things. If you don't report them, civil or criminal penalties might apply to you, and you don't want to be caught flouting some of these rules, because the penalties are usually very, very, serious. Another tax implication that immigrants have to look out for is, capital gain taxes when, they are divesting of their real estate investments. You're trying to sell off your real estate assets. You have to look out for capital gains taxes, as they will be applicable, and, you should pay them when you are divesting of your real estate assets. So those are pretty much the basic tax implications or tax ideas that immigrants should look out for, and that will help them not to get into trouble in the course of investing in a new country where they get there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Olatunde Aminu. So there was something you said when you started this conversation. You made mention that some of these tax maybe implications varies in different countries, right? So in my head, I'm sort of like Do you mean for Canada, they have their own different tax implications? USA have its own tax implications. Is that what you're trying to say to us?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Tax regimes, differ from, jurisdiction to jurisdiction. So in different countries, different tax regimes apply, and you have to be sensitive to what, the tax laws in each of those countries, say, and that would guide, your taxation in that country, whether as a resident or as a citizen or as a visitor sometime.
Okay, thank you very much. And so you will still have to be on this call while I move to our next guest, which is Mr. Gbenga Ari, Financial Officer 2 at Vesti. Mr. Gbenga, please, are you here? Good evening.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I am.
Okay, guys, don't mind him. That's how big men talk. They don't like to shout. The money is so much that's actually choke him. And big men, they don't shout when the money is plenty. Good evening. How are you, Mr. Gbenga? So tell me, how did your day go? How's been your day? You were not here when I tried to, sort of ask our guests how their day went. So I think it's a good time to ask you, how did your day go?
Not bad.
Okay.
Been an eventful one, but yeah, all good. Thank God it's Friday, so.
Yeah, thank God it's Friday. We're coming back to that anywho's. But now let's get started. So we had our legal officer right here, the person of Mr. Latunde Aminu, where it gets to, tell us some of the tax implications, which I know you sort of have, if not a full-blown idea. I know you know some of these tax implications, but the question is not for you. So, but then let's dive into your own question. So, how can immigrants effectively budget? So, for you, I'm going to be talking mainly about budgets. I mean, 2025 is coming. We have some of our listeners, viewers, they have their, migration plan for the year 2025 because they feel like, oh, 2024 is gone, but not too late. So they want to start their own budget for migration. So that's just by the side. So how can immigrants effectively budget their income to ensure that they are saving enough while covering for daily expenses? That's the question. Thank you.
Wow, a great question. I mean, budgeting is very essential. Relates to immigrants, ensuring you balance your savings, covering daily expenses, right? And so it's a very important aspect that one actually needs to be very intentional about, right? So I'll just sort of speak on a few, right? So one of the things I usually advise is that, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you?
Okay. Think okay, we still get network like.
Is everything okay? Benga, is everything okay?
Yes, please. Can you hear me now? I think the network tripped off.
Yeah, absolutely. We can hear you like clearly. I can hear you.
Oh, glad to be back. So I was talking about effective budgeting. And one of the very key points is about having to track your income and expenses.
Yeah, I tried to reach out.
Okay, I think the network really has been terrible today. Not gonna lie. So God shame the devil. God is going to shame the devil tonight. because this is about money. Even the Bible says that in Yoruba, the Bible says is that like money is a good tool for evangelism. So the devil sort of know that these money tips will be quite useful and of course well educative. Hence why the network is doing like is having epilepsy or something. But then I don't know if Benga is back. Benga, are you back? Benga, are you back? Okay, Benga is not back, but I'll use this to while away the time. It's Friday, and I know that salary has been paid. Do not forget, it's money tips. Don't spend all your money or your salary for TGIF. The month of October is still long, so make sure you spend your money wisely. Yes, you can actually take out some thousands of few cash to give yourself some treats, which is fine. I mean, you did all the work, you did all the hard work, so you should inherit the results of the hard work. But then, in all that getting, get understanding and wisdom. So please ensure that while you're being paid and trying to enjoy TGRF, spend your money wisely. 2025 is just around the corner. Your plans for migration, getting all of the global opportunities need to start now. And that's why Vesti is here with you. And with Vesti, you can actually get all of these opportunities. And with these money tips, Vesti actually is here to help you as well on our platform, because we have our Vesti app where we get to help you save your money and also to plan for your migration. I think Benga is not back, but Benga, if you are here, please can you say hello?
Hello, so sorry. Been in and
Okay.
out network.
Are you back with us? Are you back fully, like
Yes.
back?
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully the network operates. But yes, I'm here.
All right then, let's get started. Do you still remember your question? Or you want me
Yes,
to?
absolutely.
Okay.
No, I got it. Right.
All
So
right.
yeah, effective budget has been one of the first points, which is for immigrants to be able to effectively track their income and expenses. Right. Immigrants should begin to list their source of income and expenses, where money comes from, and those items that sort of takes your money, right? So budgeting has to do with you actually writing them down, right? And list your income, list your expenses. Also, very key point is that you need to categorize each expenses, right? Because we have your fixed expenses, which like I would say recurrent expenses, right? Your rent, utility, right, and other variable costs like your groceries, entertainment. So you need to sort of prioritize, categorize them based on priority. There are some that you definitely need to make payment for: your rent, utilities. Those ones are inevitable. So you need to categorize your expenses as well as your income. You need to know all the touch points where money comes in for you. Also, you need to sort of allocate portions, right, based on the budgeting. Some would advise that you do sort of like a 50-30-20 rule, right, where you sort of, your budget framework, allocating 50 to your income, sort of your essential needs, housing, feeding, then 30% of it goes to sort of your leisure, then 20% for savings, right? But this also depends on the first point, which is what comes in, and your major expenses. So by that, you'll be able to know what to really apportion, what ratio, you need to apportion for the most essential ones, and those you need to apportion for savings based on, what comes in and what your expenses would be like, right? So another key point is that you need to prioritize for emergency savings. Very, very key. Very, very key. So before thinking of other savings, you need to ensure that you have an emergency fund somewhere, sort of funds that can cover like 3 to 6 months of your living expenses if anything goes south. You understand? So ensure you prioritize emergency savings. And very key thing to note is that you also need to cut unnecessary costs. You know, you are there for a particular purpose. Either you're migrating for you're going for probably a study visa, you know, for work related, education, you know, related, you know, migration routes. So you need to cut down a lot of unnecessary costs, focus on the main reason why you are there. Um, you know, ensure that you free up a lot of money so that you have more money to apportion for the savings or probably you want to invest, right? So cut unnecessary costs and set very, very clear financial goals. You know, this is also one of the decisions you need to make while you're migrating. You need to ensure that, you know, you set very, very clear financial goals, whether, you know, it's saving for relocation, education, either for investment opportunities, you know, have specific goals that sort of help you keep, you know, your budget focused and, you know, being very intentional about, you know, budgeting, so to say. So I think I'll just wrap it up by, you know, those points I've mentioned.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benga. So one of the questions I have here says that, so for all of these emergency funds, you know, these funds, that funds, is there a way all of these can be, you know, segregated, maybe in our personal accounts? I guess that's what the person is trying to say. In our personal accounts, or you have to do it in your own house with the safe box, the color, the normal color that your bank usually say. What would you advise in this sense? Is it okay to have all of these funds in the bank, or is there a particular app you would like to represent to, you know, to like give validation on whether we can make use of it or not?
Um,
Following
okay, very great question. And you know, Vestil has one of the most amazing feature that sort of answers this question, right? On the Vestil app, you can actually, you know, save for different purposes, right? You can apportion your savings, just like I mentioned. So you can use the Vesti app. It's very secure, and you know you don't just save; you also earn on your savings, which is a very good thing, you know, to take advantage of, right? So download the Vesti app, you know, and explore the savings feature that enables you to, you know, save for your emergency funds, save for your, you know, personal expenses, even for your entertainment. So yes, I would recommend you using Vesti and, you know, taking advantage of all the features as relates to, you know, savings. Yes.
Thank you so much, Benga. So I was gonna ask again, just like a follow-up question from what you just said. You recommended Vesti, right? As one of the apps or platforms where
Absolutely.
we can get to save. Personally, for me, I have my own savings too on the Vesti app. But I want to ask questions. So it won't be like we're just making mouth, right? Do you think that if I should invest my money, or I'm, you know, telling my friend to come and invest using the save, using the Vesti app, would you say that if I have my money saved on Vesti app, there will be interest, or my money will just be there? If I save 5,000, the 5,000 is going to be there in the next 2 months, 3 months, unlike other banks, right? So what do you have to say to that?
Yes, absolutely. So great thing what Vesti has done, right? So there is a percentage that, you know, sort of, you know, accumulates on your savings. So you're not just saving, you sort of get something on it, right? So yes, save, you lock your your savings for a particular period of time, and yes, you get, you know, an interest on it.
Okay, so is there any specific percentage to that, or not to be disclosed?
not to be disclosed. But anyways, it's very flexible, right? Very, very flexible, and there are no hidden charges, right? So I'll just advise you to download the app and just explore. So the interest rate depends on the duration and also the amount you're willing to save. So I might not be able to give like a specific figure because I don't know
Right.
what you want to
Saving.
the
Right, right. All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Gbenga. A round of applause for our amazing financial officer. Thank you so much for taking our time. I know it's TGIF. We're supposed to go book it out, and it's the first Friday of the month, right? Supposed to go and what's that English? I think Jai or something. But then you decided to share in your wealth of knowledge. So what would be your goodbye notes, or say, goodbye notes for today's webinar to all our listeners and viewers? Mr. Gbenga. Mr. Gbenga, are you there? Oh, okay. He should come back. He needs to answer that. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, mommy, daddies, uncles, aunties, right here. So we're moving back to our legal officer, Olatunde Aminu, Mr. Olatunde Aminu. Now to your question, and I hope this is not going to be the last question because we definitely should have some follow-up questions because this has to do with money. Everybody wants money and everybody loves money. Okay, I think Benga is back. Benga, are you here? Say hello. I need you to say, give us a last note for today's webinar. Okay. I think you'll be back. All right. Olatunde, please, are you here? Olatunde, are you here? Just say hello. Mr. Olatunde Aminu, are you here? Oh, you're back. Great.
Oh, yeah. I just go back in. I had issues with my internet for a bit.
I see the way you just said you just got back in, like you just flew in. O'Shea. That's really cool officers. That's how they talk. They're so calm, just like Benga, you're so calm. Anything that has to do with stress, they don't really like it. But when it gets to their work, they'll put on the whole armor of work. All right, so the last question I'm going to be asking you is that is there any legal restrictions or challenges that immigrants face when trying to invest? That's 1A. And if they eventually get to face all of these challenges, how should they overcome it? What are the precautions you're going to give? Thank you.
All right, thank you for that once again. So I mean, I get that the question is divided into two different, sections, but I'm just gonna like answer them together. I tell the prospective challenge or restrictions that you might face, and then I'll give the solution and I'll proceed like that. So firstly, across the world, immigrants upon getting into their host country, into new jurisdictions, face a myriad of challenges that ranges from settling down with accommodation, with accounts, bank accounts, getting basic things done. um, you know not to talk of the more complex things like actually investing in the countries that they have immigrated to. So these are the usual challenges that people face. And again, this brings me back to one point I made in my earlier discussion about tax implications, is that usually the restrictions and challenges you face as an immigrant is usually dependent on your residency status, right? So depending on the class of visa you have immigrated with, or your residency status at the time. There will be restrictions as regards the kind of investments you can carry on or you can do. For instance, there are certain industries or class of investments that you might not be able to participate in as an alien, so to speak, in a new place. So, for instance, there are some countries or some places in the world where they reserve participation in certain forms of investment, like real estate, to citizens of that country, right? If you're not a citizen of that country or you don't have, some level of residency, advantage, you might not be able to like invest in real estate in such countries. So usually the solution to that would be that, you might have to like partner with citizens of that country. You might have to like partner with other people who have actual legal status to invest. You provide the money, they'll provide the status for you to invest, and then you can carry on such investments. Another way to go would be using special purpose vehicles of investments. For real estate, usually in the world there's what's called the real estate investment trust. You can invest in such kind of trust. You don't have to be a citizen or a resident of that country to be able to participate in such kind of investments. Another challenge that immigrants usually face with investments in their host countries again is access to financial services. I made mention of that earlier. As little as banking services, opening a bank, right, might be tough. Also, you might find it hard to access credit facilities, due to your lack of credit history in that country. So you might find it hard to like get access to loans to invest or like to start a business or something. So, I mean, the solution to that would then be, from your home country, you should try to build a good local credit history that might help you, be able to get loans with those banks in those countries at the earliest convenience for them. Because I mean, you already have a good local credit history where you are coming from, and that might help you to an extent. Also, there are certain financial institutions that cater to immigrants, so you want to look out for them, and try to like work with them as opposed to the general financial companies or financial services company around the world. For instance, if you're trying to move to the US, the Diversity app allows you to, create a USD wallet that can bank you for a point, before you get into other forms of, banking services from other banks in the US. So, like I mentioned earlier, another challenge that immigrants might face is lack of familiarity with what the market is in your host country. So you might not be familiar with the investment terrain there. Navigating the legal and the regulatory environment for that place might be tough upon coming in and trying to invest. So the solution to that would be, you have to educate yourself, you have to do a lot of research, you have to speak with the experts, financial advisors, investment professionals who can, guide you and provide you with all the information that you require to start investing as an immigrant. So that's pretty much it on, the challenges and the solutions that immigrants might face, when investing in a new country. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, our amazing legal officer, Mr. Olatune Aminu. So yeah, I was going to ask this question, and someone said that. So you mentioned Versi, right? And the person was like, "You mean me having to get like a card and having to, make use of it to open, excuse me, or to open an account with Versi? Are you trying to tell me that location has no barrier when it comes to using Versi's account for all of these things?"
Like I mentioned earlier, on the Vesti app, you can open a USD wallet that allows you to, um, maintain an account denominated in USD. And you can also have access to, the Vesti virtual dollar card that helps you make payments that denominated in USD. So I mean, that's something that they have for other countries, I can imagine. I think there's the one for pounds and a host of other African countries that you can take advantage of. So yeah, it's really Vesti without borders on the app.
All right, thank you very much. And Benga, are you back? Can you hear me? Sorry, hold on, Mr. Amino, I'm so sorry. All right, I think the network is really terrible from Benga's end. We apologize on behalf of Mr.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Is it what now?
Yes, I said I needed to
Is your
change my
network
location,
back?
but is it good now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can
and
you
I
hear
think
me?
others. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Yes, I can. That's fine. So
All right, I just wanted
really
to be sure
sorry
you're
for the
here.
poor network.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to be sure you're back on. So I would like to go back to Olatunde Amino. So Olatunde, I just want to say a very big thank you for having to create time to join us on our webinar today, Money Tips, Investments. Yeah. So before you go, what will be your last notes on today's webinar to the audience? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Your voice is low.
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely perfect.
All right. So yeah, on a final note, I would say that the specific nuances that apply to you as an immigrant in any country would be, determined by your residency status in that country. That is, your route of immigration would be of importance, and you have to consult, local stakeholders. Sorry, you have to consult local stakeholders in your host country, make your research. But I mean, those tips that I've shared here are just general tips that can guide, with investment and then, your tax implications upon getting into, your country of choice. So that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for having me on this webinar, Eniola.
You're most welcome, and it's such a great honor to have you join us. Thank you so much. So Benga, back to you. Are you there? Okay, so Mr. Latunde, one last thing. Before you go, if you were asked to sing a song right now according to your bank account, what song are you going to sing? Let me hear you. Even though we know you have the money, tell us, sing it. If you're asked to sing a song as regards to your account balance. Yeah, wait.
That's a very, very serious question. Now I have to rack my head for the kind of songs where you're looking for people to sponsor your lifestyle or something like that.
Right?
I mean, I'm gonna have to be the one to write that song.
Okay. So if you're writing a song, definitely you'll be producing. We could just, write a proposal to the Mavens record, perhaps.
I trust that's something you can help with. Thank you
So
very
you can't
much.
even you can't think of a song right now.
Nah, nothing comes to mind right now. But I mean, eh, something along the lines of send money, send money, help my ministry.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. That was just, I never planned to ask you that. That was just something to spice up the webinar. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Benga, are you there? Are you there? Please let me get to hear your last notes for this webinar. And we call it a great weekend. Are you there? Mr. Benga. Uh-oh. He left. That's fine. That's okay. Network is really messy and we understand. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are listening from or watching us from, I just want to say thank you. And I hope that you're able to pick one or two from today's webinar, which is the money tips and investment opportunities. Once again, a big thank you to all of our amazing guests, from Mr. Genga Ari, our financial officer, and also Mr. Latunde Aminu, our legal officer. I want to say thank you, and I hope that whenever we get to call you again, you definitely would answer. And to our amazing listeners and viewers, thank you so much for joining. We're so glad that you joined. We do not take this for granted. And I hope that you're able to pick one or twos, from this webinar, and you're going to make use of all of these, tools and all of these points that were listed by our guests. Do not forget, if you're still planning to migrate, Festi is here. We got you. Do well to visit us on our website for more information. And of course, Instagram. Follow us on all of our social media handles so you get to, see more updates about all of our products and services. And I hope that you're going to have an amazing TGIF and great weekend. Please take all of the enough rest you need to take so that when the week starts, you must have, recuperate from the stress of this week. All right. I would like to take my leave. Is there any question in the house before we get to say a goodbye on a final note? Any questions for Mr. Latunde? Questions for Mr. Benga? Please feel free to ask your questions. I'm currently on the chat box, so please, if you have any questions, do well to ask your questions. Okay, I'm just going to be counting down to 3 minutes, or say 2 minutes. Yeah. So there is no question. I would assume that all of the things that was listed by our guests were quite understood, and we're going to make use of all of these tools. All right. Okay, then I think on this note, I'm just going to be signing out, and I'm going to be leaving you with this song, Chop Life. Make sure you chop life. Chop life, but then use wisdom, use wisdom. Thank you very much. And until next time, have a great weekend. And my name is Eniola. You feel free to call me Anyberry. I'm your host for tonight. I hope you get to see this face again. Peace out.